Louder.
Karma, it's filmed in Spain. Yeah, a lot of kind of cool, interesting elements in this film about dreams and about perceptions and about kind of a mystery to it. Very intriguing, a lot of nicely shot.
Looking at it, I thought it was very brilliant and very imaginative and dynamic. Yes, it did float in between some different time periods, but I interpreted it as kind of a liminal thing and, hypnotic sort of, she's being hypnotized and brought back to her trauma. So, who's to say when you're sexually abused, physically abused, you could be transported to another time. Like, you can create an environment that could help you to block that abuse out. So I think the environment, the time period is not necessarily well, come on now, I mean, because the movie seems to take place in a current day and age, but I saw the world as her inner sort of soul trying to deal with the abuse and block it out, because, and yeah, it was quite graphic. I was really disturbed and upset, and that kind of movie gives me nightmares. But anyway, I thought it was really fantastic.
It's the whole theory that in order to get over something, you have to repeat it until you actually get over it. And I think, at the soul level, she was repeating that throughout these various time periods, and it looked like it wasn't resolved until now, because now, in the modern age, she has the tools to be able to resolve it. And so that's how she was able to, at the very final moment, overcome it and sort of reject the guy. That's how I was interpreting.
I don't know if anybody knows, she had a scar on her neck where she was slit. And if you've read any books on reincarnation, sometimes they say you have sometimes moles or scars or something, birthmarks, whatever, sometimes history of a past life or whatever. And there's a book called The Holographic Universe. And essentially time is a hologram. So when we look at time, it's not always linear. So sometimes we go back, we go forward, and it can be encompassed in our soul, in our memory, and when you go into the subconscious mind and you're dreaming and you're in that state, there's a possibility that it can bring back past lives. That's what I believe.
I thought I was the only person who thought there's a reincarnation thing, so thank you for that. I'm not the only person. Secondly, they were it was such a sort of there was so much packed in such a small time that there were so many things that you would think about. For instance, when she was talking about her baby, and it wasn't there in the sort of translation, but she kept saying I'm sorry in Spanish. So I thought of it as guilt over avoiding a baby, instead of because she was talking about it, she was saying sorry all the time, I couldn't save you, I couldn't do it. So I for a minute I thought that there was that, and also when we see the guy normally, when he was the boyfriend, for instance, he was a normal guy. When she had one of her dreams, so he sort of woke her up, and he seemed normal. I also thought that maybe she had gone through it was a childhood trauma which was suppressed, and she's projecting it on her boyfriend because he is the most sort of obvious person in her adult life. So maybe he was not an abuser, maybe she was abused as a child, maybe she got pregnant and she lost that baby, and then she's projecting that on her boyfriend in present. It was a very sort of non-linear, and sort of it sort of there was dreaming, there was hypnosis, and there was real life. So there were three different things that were happening. So I don't know, but that's what I thought that was happening there.
I had a different idea. I think there was guilt in the boy baby in the sense that she hung herself, so she killed her child at the same time. I didn't agree with that. But I don't know if it's only me, but I thought that the scene where it was in the present day, that was actually still in the past. I thought that it actually is, that was one of the lives, and it was in the future that it started off. In the very beginning, she was counting, when she was counting down for her to talk about the past. I thought that was the future. It might be just me that just went off on a tangent. And that the boyfriend, the idea that she was projecting on her boyfriend, I disagreed because he committed murder in the end. It takes a certain length of instability in order to be able to do that. So I think the reincarnation was actually very true. The karma was very true as far as who he was. It just hadn't come out at that time. So I actually really enjoyed the film. I did think that each different lives, the one that we saw the most was actually just one of them, and it wasn't the final one. I thought that the person was bringing her back to that as well, and I thought that was the twist of the movie. When it first started, of the short film, I thought that was the future, but that's what I got from it.
I thought it was very sophisticated and beautifully done in every way. I was thinking more the usual, the same, the reincarnation theme, not that very interesting one. That red-headed woman was. And I thought it was interesting that for a very long time you could hear a pin drop in here.
It was really well done. The lighting, the drama, the action, the sets. It was. It really made me think.
I was thinking the same line of trauma, but I feel that this movie is one projection of mental health, a connection between trauma and mental health too. That one trauma in past can create the next trauma in your life. So a childhood trauma of abuse was, so maybe boyfriend was not that, but because of she was fearing that, projecting that, it created next trauma that he killed and he became the abusive person. So that trauma was repeating from the one age to other age.
I kind of felt that way as well. It's possible that maybe she was abused before she met her boyfriend, and maybe her boyfriend reminded her of her previous abuser, whether it was a family member or neighbor or whatever, and then she created these scenarios, and her, this friend who was willing to, be with her and love her forever. I'm wondering whether she created his death because she was afraid to bring forward a child, in fear that maybe that child would also be abused.
Este sería un buen sitio para tener un hijo, ¿no? ¿Qué te pasa?
I do like this film. Aside from another thing to Lars von Trier's Europa, the opening scene and the dreamlike atmosphere of this movie, down right to the regression and counting down to the memories. I was wondering if I'm the only one who felt at the end. I felt certain ambiguity at the last scenes. I thought that her friend is actually the one who is the reincarnation of the abuser, and the current boyfriend is actually somebody who is trying to rescue her, but she's rushing to her destiny that it's gonna end badly, and that she misidentified who is the villain in the story. So that was my feeling of the ending.